bookish friends. It is a blustery November day. Tomorrow is American Thanksgiving, and yeah, I want to start filming my November wrap-up because I've got several books and it's been a while since I've finished a few of them. And yeah, let's go ahead and get started. I'm gonna take a peek at what my ebooks were for the month, because I had 2 of them. There it is. The first one I finished, that was an ebook, was Skipping Winter. This was a Mosaic Collection anthology that came out. I was on the street team for it, and I planned on doing a review video, but I just haven't gotten to it. I've been so busy. And yes, it was a really good collection. I didn't necessarily connect with all of the stories or characters, but even the ones I didn't, the authors did a good job of putting their characters in not good situations or letting them fall into temptation and then need to repent. And yes, definitely showing the light in our dark world. Yeah, I recommend it. Anthologies are a great way to try out the works of different authors without having to commit to one book. The other ebook I finished this month was Love on a Whim by Suzanne Woods Fisher. I finished this one a lot quicker than I thought I would because we traveled to go see my in-laws, and it ended up being dark for the last 2 hours of our trip, and so I just read on my tablet because I couldn't see to read a physical book. So I ended up getting a lot of that book read during then, and then but at that point I was hooked and I needed to finish. So this is actually the 3rd book in a series, The Cape Cod Creamery. Yay, I finished another series. And this one follows, oh, what's her name? Bryn? I think it's Bryn. And she is friends with Dawn, who is the main character from the first book. And Bryn makes an uncharacteristic, abrupt change in her life. And then she wakes up the next morning and is like, what have I done? And Dawn's like, just come to Cape Cod, we'll fix it. And Bryn has to decide if she actually wants to fix it or not. And I really enjoyed it. It was definitely more women's fiction and focusing on family relationships, and then also just how you can view someone differently just based on your relationship, because a lot of characters didn't like this other character because he was very cold and unforgiving toward his father, but one of the other characters like fell in love with him and who he had the potential to be with everyone else. Yeah, so I really like that. Great wrap up to the series. We got to see some of the other characters and some of the issues that they were dealing with. And I read that one for both the Read Your Bookshelf Challenge, even though it was a library book, for food, because there's ice cream and then there's a wedding that they're preparing all this food for, and wedding cakes. And then it also, I think the buzzword cover challenge also had food as November's prompt, so I got to count it for that one too. Now into the books I physically read. I did read Sky of 7 Colors by Rochelle Nelson. I think this may have been on my October TBR, and so I didn't finish it until November. I had drawn it for Random Letter for the author's last name. I had read her Ember Gold earlier this year. Loved it. This one I didn't enjoy quite as much. It was a portal fantasy, And I've come to realize I don't like books with like the fae world as much as I do just like fantastical books. Ones where the fae are, you know, deceitful, proud, maybe even conniving. Just, yeah. Anyway, the main character, I think this was first person, Meg. Oh, my first is going to kick on. Alright, let's try to get through at least this one. One of her friends slips and hits his head, and he's in a coma, and she ends up getting drawn into this alternate world that doesn't have color, but she still has color, and they are a little bit obsessed with color, and it can enhance their magic. And then she's slowly kind of losing what she remembers of her world, but she still wants to find her way back there. I did not do a good job. It has pretty silver foiling. Alright, I think at this point I have to pause here and come back. My furnace is done. I can't remember if I read October's pages at the end of October, if I read them beginning of November. I can't remember if I talked about them. Again, I'm really enjoying just picking an afternoon at the beginning or end of a month and reading through a whole month's pages and just enjoying it. I love illustrations. They're just gorgeous. And I'm hoping this weekend to pick this up and read the November pages. And then I have The Crier Stone by Lindsay Llewellyn. This is the sequel to The Chaos Grid. I think this is probably the only other book she was going to write in this world. She originally wrote The Chaos Grid to be a standalone, but was convinced to write another book. And it's another Enclave book. Gorgeous. And I actually won this in a giveaway. So the author sent it to me. Thank you. Along with character bookmarks. Loved it. And I had drawn this one for Has a Cool Spine. So it was good to get to a book within a couple months of getting it. This one we still follow Juniper or Juna. Not much I can say without spoilers for book one, except it does continue the themes of a well-known Bible story. And it was fun to pick up on those. And she does grow as a character, and we got to see some other characters come back from the previous book and have some new characters. And yeah, I really loved this one. I actually really did enjoy, I think, all of the books I read this month. It's been a good month. And the next book I finished, also in a series. Oh, except for Sky of Seven Colors. All of these are in a series. Except for my nonfiction. Oh, that's so funny. I didn't do that on purpose. Emma and Lion, Volume 6. Drew for has a flower on the cover. We're in January and February of 1884. We continue Emma's adventures at St. Crispin's. And she's always, Beth Brower, is always so kind to put in the character list and a little bit about each character so you remember them from the previous books. And then also the growing personal library of Emma M. Lyon in the back. These keep getting gradually longer, but it was funny and clever and still dealt with heavy topics. Really enjoyed it. Ended on a cliffhanger. It's been really hard not to just pick up book 7 and read it, but I only have 2 left. And I don't know when book 9 is supposed to come out. It's soon, but yes. And another book from a previous TBR. I've been crushing it with reading books on my TBR and ones I missed. This one was odd number of pages. I have so many cards I can put back in for January. Rainbow Valley. This was part of Chantel's Year of Maud read along. I think this was the October one. I think we're supposed to read Rilla for this month. I'm not sure if I'm going to read Rilla or not, because I think I read it like 2 years ago and it wasn't one of my favorites, but now I'm curious to reread it after reading Anne of Ingleside and Rainbow Valley more recently. I'd like it more. Anyway, we mostly follow Anne's, not even all 6 of her children. Rilla does not actually pop up in here very much, and neither does Shirley. We mostly follow the oldest 4. And then also there's a new minister who's a widow, and he has 4 children, and his children and the Blythe children become friends and get into all sorts of scrapes and such. And as a mother, I have to say I do enjoy this more than when I read it as a teenager. And in the spirit of finishing series, I finished another series this month. This has been great. I've finished The Way of the Wilder King. Did I draw this one? I had to have drawn it for something because it was on my TBR. Did I lose my card? I may have lost my card. Yeah. Illustrated cover was the one I drew for this. Why can't... Anyway, this is the 3rd book in the Wilder King trilogy. We are following Aiden, whose life imitates David's, and we have more of the Fiji folk, and not much I can say without spoilers for the first 2 books. But yes, I think it did an excellent job of wrapping up the series and just bringing to life the story of David and honoring and following those in authority even when they don't necessarily deserve it. So, loved it. And that was the last one I finished, but I did also read 2 or 3 chapters of Seasons of a Mother's Heart. I read 2 this week. We finished the fall chapters and gleaning some, especially the chapter I just finished yesterday about living with discipleship and being intentional in what you're teaching your children and how you're teaching your children, but also being an example of what you want them. Like, you can't just talk the talk, you gotta walk the walk. And yes, definitely getting some things out of this. Not quite as much as The Life-Giving Home, but yeah, definitely worth reading. And I'll go ahead and let's see, today is the 26th, so I have 4 days left. I know I will finish at least 1 book in that time. This one, reading it more like a devotional book, reading a chapter a day, loving it. It's been great to read in this season of my life. And yeah, I'll talk more when I finish it, because I will finish it this month. Let's see here. Mostly wanted to say, so I gave The Crier's Stone, Emma M. Lyon, Volume 6, Skipping Winter, and The Way of the Wilder King all 5 stars this month. I just picked really good books this month. I have 4 books left in my 25 books to read in 2025 list. I'm currently reading 2. One of them I will finish this month, and the other one I should finish in the next week or so. So that leaves only 2 left for December. I have not I don't think this has changed for a while. I think I'm gonna just have to be okay with not meeting my goals and not blocking out my bingo board, because I don't think I'm gonna read 2 more Wodehouse books and 2 more Agatha Christie books in the next month. I could probably read one of each of those, but I don't think I want to push myself to read those. And I read the first 7 books for the Tales from Distant Lands book club, and then we came to one I'd already read, and then I just haven't read anymore. So it's kind of a bummer. And oh yeah, Rainbow Valley and Sky 7 Colors were on my October TBR. Still participating in Chattel's Autumn Book Bingo. This is the last month. And oh, for baking, I could totally do Love on a Whim for that one, because Bryn bakes wedding cakes in that one. And for Orange on the Cover, I have The Way the Boulder King. So yay! Finished it! Huzzah! And I only have 1 book left on my November TBR. Well, here's my page spread for the month. Liked how it turned out. I didn't get to it till this past week, but yeah, I really like it. That's all for now. Hopefully when I come back I'll have, well, I know I'll have at least 1 book. I'd really like to have 3 books to talk about, but we'll see. It's very busy end of the month for me. So yeah, until next time. Okay, we're in that last crunch of just trying to get the last 2 weeks of school done before we can take a break. And I've still managed to finish 2 books and read from another one. The first one I finished was Prairie by Shatona Havig. This is the first book in Something About Dreams series. This woman wakes up and she is in the prairie land of her dreams. Think Little House on the Prairie, things like that. And it's different than our world. It's very interesting. And it was also interesting to be reading that at the same time as reading The Garden at the Edge of Beyond by Michael Phillips. And I did enjoy it. I'm still ruminating on what to rate it. I mean, it's at least 4 stars. Shatona's books usually are. Yeah, it's one of those books that makes you think. And isn't necessarily, ooh, this is just a great story, I want to just read to get more of it. It was more of a gentle journey. And the other one that I finished was The Garden at the Edge of Beyond by Michael Phillips. This book is another fantasy. A man wakes up in this garden. It's part of the afterlife, but it's not heaven and it's not hell. The point is to awaken their senses. Oh, I forgot. I had drawn this for the 20, in this case 25 to read in 2025 list. And this was the last one on my TBR. I finished it. I read this more like a devotional. I read about a chapter a day. There's 30 chapters. It takes from C.S. Lewis and George MacDonald and other things. And I don't want to say too much, except that this was an amazing book to read at the time. A friend of mine died, and we had some mourning. She ended up having an inoperable brain tumor, and she's been a great mentor to me and my kids, and she was a mom in my husband's homeschool co-op growing up, and so she's touched all of our lives. And she was a believer, and so it was comforting to read this while knowing that she was dying, and then also once she died, and then going to her funeral. So, yeah, another 5-star book. I ran out of 5-star book slots in my reading journal, so I don't know what I'm going to do for December, because I'm not going to say, oh, I can't give any books 5 stars because it doesn't fit in my journal anymore. I'll figure something out. And then I did read the November pages in The Country Diary of an Edwardian Lady. I will probably finish this before the end of the year. I just have December left. And isn't that so pretty? I just, it's a very relaxing book to read. I usually read it on a Saturday afternoon, but with having a couple weeks off for Christmas, we'll see how it goes. And, oh, here's my journal. I think I marked off all of my challenges for the month, which is good. It helped that I was able to use Love on a Whim for both Read Your Bookshelf Challenge and Buzzword Cover Challenge. I made some progress in series, which was unintentional but amazing. I haven't finished filling in my bookshelf for the month yet. And so then I ended up giving 4 books 5 stars. The Crier Stone, Emma M. Lyon, Volume 6, Skipping Winter, and The Garden at the Edge of Beyond. Oh, I think I maybe have also given, The Way of the Wilder King 5 stars too. I don't even have enough room for all of November's in here. Huh. Oh, it's gonna be so hard to pick a favorite. It's probably gonna be The Garden at the Edge of Beyond, just because of circumstances. And then that just leaves 3 books on my 25 Dream 2025, one of which I'm reading. I'm having a hard time because I checked out the audiobook from my library because it's Tolkien and my oldest loves Tolkien, and so we were listening to some of it, and the audiobook is very different from my copy, which is the newest edition. It's his short stories, and mine has one in there that's not in the audiobook. And then the audiobook's version of Tom Bombadil is not the same as the one in my book. And then my book has his on fairy stories, like speech or essay in it. And the audiobook has something different in the end. So they only have 3 books, 3 short stories in common, and I've already read 2 of them. So I don't know. Can I count that twice? Because, oh, okay. Sorry if you can hear my 6-year-old in the background. We have limited time here. And then I've completely fallen off Tales of Disneyland Book Club, and I'm just gonna have to be okay with that. And I'm gonna also have to be okay with not finishing my book bingo, because I'm not gonna get 2 more Agatha Christie's read, and I'm not gonna get 2 more Wodehouse done, and I will finish my 25 in 2025, I think, because I only have 2 books left, and one of them is a winter book, so I should probably I'll probably be in the mood to read it this month. So still, I'll have done 22 out of 25 challenges for myself. Arbitrary goals that I came up with at the last minute. In the autumn reading book bingo, I ended up blacking out my card. I just haven't written in the last 2 books yet. And I also finished my TBR. Yay! Need to do December's pages because today's the 2nd. I'll have time in 2 weeks. Let me know what you read this month. I'll see if I can grab all my books. I actually read a lot of ebooks this month, so I read 3 ebooks this month. But I read all of these physically. Yeah, let me know your favorite book of November. And until next week, happy reading.